Yes, I know I'm streaming. Don't worry, I've just been quiet. Just doing a bit of work, folks, that's all. And there's a reason why. It's sort of, I just wanted to spin you out at first. Just let you think I was streaming without not knowing. And what this stream is actually about, you can just watch me stream. See, we've got a coronavirus going on at the moment, right? Now, we've also got other matters in the world out there that need attention. Major things like, i.e. pain relief for people that can't afford it. Many other things. Food where people can't afford it. See, back in many years ago, when God sent stuff down from heaven to feed his people, it was lost. He gave it to the people and it was lost. It was called manna back in those days. Its real name is manna. And it's tree of life, comes from the tree of life. It feeds you, it medicates you, it does a lot of things. This tree can actually, this tree can actually heal. It can feed. It can do the whole damn lot. And trust me, I've done a lot of research into this, folks. Tons and tons of research. And no, don't want that, don't want that, don't want that. And don't need that. We need Google. And the thing is, with it, cannabis does so much. It can, and it truly can feed you. Yeah, Google always wants to know your location. And trust me, anybody who thinks you're not being spied on, you are. And look how many times Google wants to know your location. Yeah, see, this plant here, this is a food. See, in its vegetative state, there are no trichomes in this plant, none whatsoever. And as a child, I ate this plant. As a child, ate it as a food. And it never ever harmed us. We were never high, I guarantee you we were never high. And we knew what it was, but we knew that it was a food, but then it can be a medicine as well. And in this plant can be kept in a vegetative state as long as you want. You do not have to put this plant into flower. The moment it goes into flower, every part starts developing trichomes, including the leaves. Right? Now, those trichomes can be used as a food still if someone's got pain. Say if they've got a headache, they just chew on a leaf. And I grew up with this. See, I come from a mother that was a hippie. I'm pretty old, folks. I'm nearly 60 years old. Okay, and I've seen a lot of things in my life. And I'm currently working to get the Australian federal government to make this food source legal all over Australia. And the pandemic is the perfect time to do it. Because one wall, we need people to calm the fuck down. This is a good way to calm them the fuck down. And but it's also a chance to prove to the governments that this plant is not dangerous. I'm trying to organise an interview with somebody over at Nug Smasher about something. And something that proves that this drug is not dangerous. And it's the most absolute proof. And I'm going to be calling him tomorrow and speaking with them, and hopefully even get an interview with him on my Cannabis Protester website. And it will be for the Cannabis Protester, and you will see the Cannabis Protester come up. What you will actually see, sorry, I've just got to get the right screen up, because I wanted you to think, there we go. I wanted you, no, that's not them. No, I just haven't put a display in that one yet. I have got one display. That's the one that disappears, I've got to worry about. And I've still got the wrong one up. What the hell? Where is it? What have we got up? No, number 4. I've just got to get the right screen up, folks. That's all I'm trying to do. There we go. That one. So this plant truly is a wonder to mankind. This is what, it's the only plant that has got so many vitamins and minerals within the one plant. We have a system that processes this. It's called the cannabinoid system. The human body has a system a system that processes this one drug. And trust me, when I was fed this as a child, and there were no trichomes in it, and I guarantee you it was just fed as a vegetable, we were very healthy children. Mum used to mix it in with our goulash. Well, she taught me all the recipes. She knew I wouldn't blab. Well, she's dead now, so I can blab. And not the saying that it's good my mum's dead. My mum died because, yeah, everybody knows the reasons why. And but there's a plant out there that could have actually helped her in her life up until the thing. But see, this plant is not affordable in Australia. This plant has not been made affordable in Australia. This plant, to go and get a script of medicine that I have to take, costs $450, and I'm lucky if I get 2 weeks out of it. Right? Because one, they're not making it strong enough to kill the type of pain that I have. And yet they can make it strong enough to kill the type of pain that I have. In other words, don't fuck with it. Just let it come out of the plant the way it is. That's how this plant is designed, and this is how our bodies are attuned to adapt it. And if people don't call this manna, they're mad, because, okay, everybody says, and I'm talking to all the Christians out there, you all say that God created us. So, well, if God created us, God put the cannabinoid system in us. Think about that. That God himself put the cannabinoid system in us. So don't say cannabis is wrong. Yous are the people that are wrong, because yous are missing out on eating manna. And manna is very beautiful to eat. I've eaten it throughout my life. I've eaten it as a child, and manna can be eaten as a child. Because while ever it's young, it's not psychoactive. And yes, it is psychoactive, right? But those psychoactives is a wrong name for it. It should be cannabinoid active, right? The cannabinoids average on usage for about 5 hours, and sorry guys, I'm not reading chat, I just realised that. And 10 to 1, there's half a dozen of you in there by now. And I don't get to read the Cannabis Protester chat. I can't get that one up when I'm not actually streaming on it. I haven't worked out how to do that one yet. So where are we? What do we need? We'll turn that one off. But yeah, we need to actually get everything that's actually happening and working. Sorry folks, I'll get this chat up in a second. And because I do want to see what people are actually saying. But cannabis seriously needs more study, and they need to be studying not just the cannabinoid things, studying the plant right throughout its whole life, because during its life, in its early stages, it can be kept as nothing more than food. Sorry folks, I've been having issues today with hackers, and I'm still trying to work out what's actually happening with them. So I'm just gonna, yeah. But yeah, the cannabis out there that people are saying, like, the reason why it's illegal in Australia, because there's a law that says it's illegal, which is wrong. This law should not exist. Cannabis was turned around and brought up as a drug to be evil. Yet mankind had forgotten its real use, to heal. And this plant heals. Trust me, it heals. It takes away my pain. When unfortunately they don't make this, I've got to take numerous drops to take the pain away. But it works. Doesn't turn me into a raving lunatic. In fact, what it turns me into is the biggest cannabis protester you guys have ever met. Because I've always spoken my mind, and the truth about this drug needs to go out there. But from a child, I also remember this as a food. And this is what the world needs to realise. My mother always called this manna. My mum never called it pot or cannabis or weed. Mum called it manna from heaven. Mum was a very religious lady, but she still smoked pot. Right? She still ate pot. She occasionally got off her tits, as the old saying goes. And my mum was never in a day, like if there could have been 1,000 people at her funeral, there would have been 1,000. If there could have been 10,000, then more than likely there could have been 10,000 people at my mum's funeral. But because of the COVID restrictions, 5. And that's wrong. And we're all going through this, and we've got idiot protesters out there protesting the wrong way. This is how you protest, by the way. You protest, use your voice. Let them hear you, let them see you. Get a YouTube channel and spread your voice. Don't just sit back and, oh, well, I've got to go down the street and protest and have some fun and break shit and everything. You guys, trust me, they're ready for you this time. You go out there and you loot this time, they're going to catch every one of you. And I hope they do. And you guys out there have got something else that you should be protesting about. It's about getting cannabis legal so that we can get our food. We can grow food for a while, and then it can be turned into a medicine when we want to turn it into a medicine. You could be growing it for as long as that plant lives and kept in a vegetative state. That will produce food. But the moment you turn and convert it into flour and want to get the seeds and everything like that, that then becomes a medicine. And this is what people need to realise, right? But it also becomes a recreational drug. Well, at the moment, we've got a recreational drug out there that kills more people in the world than any other thing. And I mean, it kills a lot of people. And yet, we allow that to happen. We've got another drug out there that we give to people to kill pain. That drug is totally killing me at the moment. And I want off that drug. And the only way I can do it is get this medicine. I can't afford this fucking medicine. I'm not monetarised, so I can't get super chats. If anybody does want to donate, by the way, go to my PayPal link. And I still accept donations because I still need to pay for that fucking medicine. And but the whole point is, folks, that when you are out there, you shouldn't have to do things like that so you can obtain medicine that you need to kill the pain, to stop taking the drugs that are killing you. This drug should even be on the PBS. Like today, I sent a video, it's called Mammoth OG. It's a new strain of cannabis, and man, does it produce a lot of stuff. This will actually be a very, very popular one in America. But this could be grown by the Australian growers that are growing for the cannabis drugs. It's also got a reasonable range on THC, and it would certainly, I guarantee you, it would certainly kill the pain. Just looking at it, you can tell. And this is what I mean. This drug, it shouldn't be called a drug. It should be called a medicine. Not a drug, a medicine. Because this doesn't hurt you, it can't harm you. I have found evidence of a guy taking a pretty massive milligram dose of over 4,000 milligrams accidentally, didn't realise how much would be in there, and then they actually decided to measure it. And the one they measured turned out to be over 4,000 milligrams. So he took a massive dose, didn't even realise, didn't kill him. Did not kill him. So even if you are stupid and do what this guy did and just scull it without measuring it, yeah. But it can't kill you. It's just a medicine. It floored him. And that sort of medicine would be good for people that are in massive amounts of pain with broken bones, the whole lot. Trust me, it's better and more healthy than anything they have on the market, including laughing gas. It would be consumed, wouldn't make them sick. In fact, it would get rid of the sickly feeling. But it would kill the pain instantly. That's the good thing about cannabis. Cannabis kills pain as soon as you've got the right dosage in your system. The reaction is instant, providing you consume it the right way. Cannabis oil. Right? And cannabis oil can be made extremely strong. Cannabis oil can be made extremely weak. This drug, if you want to call it a drug, should not be a drug. Should not be. It was made a drug by the governments and everything. Yes, it should be classified similar to alcohol. Yes, that should be its only classification, like cannabis is in America. And every government around the world should be starting to implement laws this week to get cannabis legal in their countries so that we can also feed our people. Because at the moment, we've got a lot of people in lockdown. This plant, if they could grow most probably 10, 20 plants, would feed their families until you could rig up a system and everything, and it's not going to take long. America did it in a very short time. And a lot of other countries need to do this, but this needs to be made legally, federally, in every country. So there's no more qualms about this thing. Yes, that we should have restrictions on driving with it. Yes, that is a common thing, but it should be a sobriety test. Somebody that is under the influence of cannabis shows similar symptoms to somebody that showed drunk in the old style sobriety test, because they don't have anything that can measure the dosage in your system. They don't know, because of the way the drug works, they can't measure it yet, because every dose is different, every plant is different, so it changes. But the thing is, it only ever has an effect of 5 hours. I've never known it to be 5 hours more, because I've got to take a dose every 5 hours to kill the pain. So I can tell you now, you're not affected after 5 hours. And I'm on a reasonably strong dose. It should be stronger. But even if it is stronger, it's only going to stop you out for about 5 hours. That's about its lifespan in the human body. When I did use it for recreation, never more than 5 hours. You're lucky if you got 5 hours most of the time, because a lot of the stuff back then was shit. Well, I think we were smoking more CBD than anything else. But the thing is, it does kill pain, and it truly, truly does work, folks. And we need to turn around and actually stop this from being prohibited anymore. People should be able to grow this plant so they can use it as a food, and once the government researches it, and they should be researching this right the fuck away, because they will find that up until that plant goes into flower stage, that plant is edible. 100% edible for the whole family. Right? But I'll tell you something, when it goes into flower, if you've got a headache or something like that, all you need, if you tipped your plant, you've got an instant headache cure. It's not too strong, it's very mild, that's just a tip. And that's only in the first week of flower. See, I learnt all these things fucking years ago, back when the hippies were there, because my mum was a hippie. She was a religious hippie, but still a hippie. I learnt this stuff. This is what your parents taught you. God, I most probably could have told you more about this at the age of 13. I used to sit in the middle of our kitchen table, just a bowl of it. And you could eat it, because it was just food. It was just wet leaves thrown in a bowl, and if you wanted to eat it, you could. But if it was dried, you weren't allowed to touch it, because you knew that was mum and dad's. But there were just normal leaves, you could eat them, and tasted really sweet, sour salad. There are a couple. There's some, I can't remember what they were. This is going back years ago. There were some that tasted like peppery flavours in them. Some tasted like eating a dessert. And yet I never got high off them. Not once. Because I was just eating the plant. But Mum never put that plant out if it was in vegetative state. If it wasn't in vegetative state. And if it was dry, you weren't allowed to touch it, because that was flowered. And so there's many different ways that you know, but this plant can be eaten. And this is what so many people don't realise. This can heal your children of chronic things that you don't even realise. And I'm talking to the Christians at the moment. You don't realise that this drug, if you want to call it a drug, was given to you by God, for crying out loud. It was given to you. Moses' people were given this for 40 years. They ate this plant for 40 years. This plant can be grown in the desert, for God's sake. So if a plant can be grown in the desert, can grow anywhere in the world, and you can live off the plant. It kills pain. This plant came from heaven. This is manna, folks. This is manna, and that's what my mum used to tell me as well. It's manna. This is manna from heaven. And you need to realise this, because God, and I'm talking to the Christians, gave you a cannabinoid system. Ask your doctor, do you have a cannabinoid system in your body? He will tell you yes. It's part of the human system. Helps the brain function. This drug, if you want to call it a drug, should be called a medicine, right? Can turn around and heal. It can take situations in your body and heal you. It was one of the reasons, because of extra pain that I had in my shoulder, because I've lost use in my fingers, right? Now this has only been happening since I'm back on my medicine. All right, it's got THC and CBD. CBD is one of the healing compounds in it. It comes from normal hemp, which is the non-psychoactive hemp, psychoactive hemp. But since I've been back on this medicine, which has been about a week, the nerve in my shoulder has started to heal. I have been using rub-ins, but they've done no good over the last month or two. But only since I've been back on this medicine has my shoulder started to heal. I'm actually can touch things again very lightly, but it's not as painful now. There's still pain there, but the pain level of touch is going. So whatever's happening in my shoulder is healing right now. And it's only since I've been back on this medicine. And all it is, it's cannabis oil. It's THC. It's 12 milligrams of one, 20 milligrams of the other. Can't remember which. No, yeah, it's THC, CBD, 20 milligram. And so there's more CBD in this medicine. All I do is I've worked out where the exact number of drops is. I take 10 to 15 things. I wait 10 minutes. If that doesn't work, I may have to take more. But the thing is, my shoulder has started healing because of the CBD side of the oil. And I'm getting feeling back. I'm taking no other medicines, folks, for this. None whatsoever. I was given a request to go and get a shot in my arm, like a steroid injection into my shoulder to try and help it heal. That didn't work. Well, I did have a 5-day course of steroids, but that did no good. But it was only when I couldn't bear the pain anymore and I didn't want to take any more bloody drugs that kill me, I went up and I paid $450 and got me script. So because I've got this script now, I can turn around and not just be pain-free, but my shoulder is great. My shoulder is actually getting better. It's not as painful anymore. And my hands, I'm starting to get feeling back in my fingers again, and it's not as painful when I touch things now. And I don't have as much movement back. That's going to take time because my hand's been out of action for quite some weeks. And trust me, the injuries and what I've got is quite bad. But this has actually started healing it, and the only thing I can account that to is the CBD component of this drug. But the pain level thing, I had to take a certain amount to get pain relief from this drug. And but the whole point is this needs to be legalised, and this is what people don't realise. There's so many idiot Christians out there, and I'm calling you idiots at the moment because of the simple fact that this is manna. This was given to you for the people for 40 years, to feed you for 40 years, medicated you for 40 years, and the people came out and they were healthy as buggery, so it must be good. And they were only given one plant. They're only given this. Man, this has got carbohydrates, this has got proteins, it's got everything in it. This is what I mean. You need to research this plant. It's food. It truly is food. And you have to realise this. As I said, right up until you turn it from vegetative state to flour, it then becomes medical. But while it's in vegetative state, there's nothing to this. But see, what you do, you can take the tips of the leaf, even when it's in vegetative state and eat it, not hurt you. But the moment that little tip here, this one here, this picture here, this is called a tip. I know everything about cannabis. I've watched enough videos, right? That's what everybody says, I've watched enough videos. But I also grew up with this plant. I've got knowledge that these idiots don't have. That tip there, when in flower, even like that, if just tipped off when they tipped it and had a headache and ate it, yes, that would actually take 90% of the pain away from the headache. Because one, they're getting stuff and minerals and everything that your system needs and is currently lacking. This is why the human body has so many problems at the moment, because we are not consumed. This is why they call them potheads. Why are they so healthy? Because they're consuming a plant that your system is needed. This is why they're healthier than us. Because I'm starting to get healthy because I'm starting to consume the damn thing again, but I've got to consume manufactured oil, but that I know nothing about, by the way. But I should be able to make that thing myself. You should be able to make that yourself. But see, you don't just need that. If I had a headache and I was eating that, because that is just gone into flour, if I ate that tip, that would get rid of a headache. That much would get rid of a headache in half an hour. Pretty much straight away get rid of it, but the headache would disappear altogether in about half an hour, because then you're getting all the nutrients, because this plant, even in flour. Now, if you processed one of these flowers, right, and processed it and removed all of the, if you removed all of the THC or the sugar crystals, which is what you can see here, if you remove them and process this plant, you don't throw away the remnants. Once you know that you have removed all the THC from the plant, and it is no good, and you know there's no THC, that then can be used as a food again. It can be thrown into goulashes, it can be thrown into anything. And then, once you've got rid of the psychoactive, it's most probably just got a mellow sort of effect, because there's bound to be a residual somewhere, unless you've boiled it out and then scooped all the oil out first. Then it just becomes vegetable matter, and it's a sweet vegetable matter. Trust me, it was one of the sweetest things I ever ate as a child. And not once did we ever get high as children, but we were actually consuming this plant. Some of my family didn't know about it, but I did, because I was always in the kitchen with Mum learning. That's why I knew about it. But we always knew that this was allowed, that was not allowed. Because, like, we went through hard times. Because my dad wanted to buy a new car after new car after new car after new car. Yeah, it put us in hard times every now and then. But Mum always made sure we were fed, and that plant was one of the ways that my family was always fed. And all it was we ate it. We didn't even know we were eating it, because it was in our stews. We ate a lot of stews when we were young. And it's one of the sweetest foods you'll ever eat. As a dessert, like that tip as a dessert, in its vegetative state, is most probably like eating a chewing gum. But no psychoactive drug, because it hasn't gone into flour yet. As long as it doesn't go into flour, that tip there, right? Where is it? Where's one without? No, they're all got pistols on them. But there's got to be a picture of a tip. Yeah. No, they're going into flour. There. See, at that stage, that little bit there is the same thing. That tip there is food, and it tastes as sweet as a chewing gum, as a candy. And I mean it, really, truly does. And you don't get high off it, because there's no pistils on it. Because the moment it's got pistils, it's got trichomes. So as long as it's not thing, and all those same leaves there, that's salad, man. And it's nice, and they're just as sweet as the tip. And from someone that grew up eating this as a leaf and going, oh, okay, that's pretty good, and you'd eat the whole lot. But you knew that this was food and could be medicine, and it was the way I was raised. I knew all about this stuff. Well, I didn't know how to make oil back back then. I've learned how to make oils and things like that by just watching it. See, this used to be used for rope and things like that. Now we use chemicals to make rope, which is killing our things. We could go back to making very strong hemp rope. The hemp fibre is pretty much unbreakable, as everybody knows. That's why it used to be used and still is used in some cases on some ships. But the plastic oils industry, that's right, they're the same ones that caused this to be illegal. That's why they caused it to be illegal, because they couldn't make their nylon ropes because everybody used hemp, knew how strong hemp rope was. You look at most plastic ropes now, they all break. Oh God, you don't trust anything that comes from Bunnings. The weight limits are wrong because they're buying in China. But this plant, folks, this plant is amazing what it can do to the human body. Just taking a prescription drug, because it's got the CBD in it, my arm is healing, and I believe this is what's healing me, is this plant. Because see, when you're consuming cannabis, your cannabinoid system is fully functional. Whether you consume it as a food or whether you consume it as a thing, as a medicine, as long as you're getting the cannabinoids into the system, the body is working. We have receptors that receive THC, we got receptors that receive CBD, and each one has a different purpose. But then the cannabinoid system has its own things, and the cannabinoid system is part of your control system of the human body. And this is what none of you realise. Go and Google the cannabinoid system. Cannabinoid system. If I wasn't so lazy, I'd do it myself. But the thing is, if you find out the truth, right, you're going to most probably rip the governments down. But the thing is, we need to legalise this, and it needs to be legalised immediately. This prohibition has got to stop. Yes, it's got to be kept out of the hands of children, that is a thing, but it still could be fed to them as a food in its early stage. But you just educate your children that it's a food and a medicine. And you stipulate the word medicine. Don't use the word drug, because you don't want them knowing that word. But cannabis has a healing effect on the human body. Cannabis is most probably the one thing that we have been neglecting, and this is why we are getting so sick all the time, because we weren't consuming what we were given from heaven. It has never disappeared. It's been used for thousands upon thousands of years, used by rulers of massive empires. Yet you yourselves have forgotten. This plant needs to be legalised. Those of you that grow, why don't you try eating some of those leaves? Try eating the tips and prove what I'm saying. The tips, when they're not in flower, are not psychoactive. But the moment you start changing the cycle, they become psychoactive very quickly. They do, trust me. And then they can cure headaches. And they do work, trust me, they work. But it's a very nice food. No one realises that. The leaves themselves can be eaten. You've got to find the way that you like to eat them, but they can be eaten. They can be ground, they can be thrown into food. There's many different ways, and as a spice, it was one of the best spices. You throw that, like just normal vegetative state, into a soup, it gives it such a flavour that you can't believe it. Everybody loved your food. When I was you've only got to ask anybody that I grew up with. Up until I was about 17, 18, and still cooking with my mum, everybody loved my food. Everybody did. Everybody loved my food. Why? Because it had a secret ingredient in it. It was cannabis leaf. Vegetative state cannabis leaf. The flavours and everything, I used them as a spice as well as a food. Because I've got to admit, I even cook some of those damn meals. And it really, truly is a very nice... You can turn this plant into a main meal, a bloody dessert, for God's sake. there is so many uses for this one tree. If this did not come from God, where did it come from? If you are a Christian, say God created everything, or God created this plant. If you are a heathen, why does this plant kill pain? Even if you accidentally OD'd on it, can't kill you, and I've actually found proof that someone accidentally did, and he's still alive today. He was alive for a long period of time. It didn't harm him. It can't harm you because it came from God. So if that can happen, why is this plant not legal to use as both food and medicine? Why doesn't mankind have the right to grow their own food and medicine? Why? It's because all the fucking elite out there don't want you, one, to have access to good medicine because they all want you to take theirs. That's what it is. It's all about big pharma. It's all about big pharma. Trust me, it really is. This is why they've tried to take control of cannabis. Right? Because they want to make all the fucking money. They don't want you having the thing. See, big pharma's trying to take over where the other mob did. They don't want you to have it because then they don't make any fucking money. And they're not doing anything different that you would do in your own home to turn around and create your own medicine. But they just want the money from you. And this is wrong. It has to change. Legalisation has to happen now. And it has to happen right fucking now. No more fucking waiting. This is what everybody should be protesting. This is what everybody should be making fucking videos about. Every single fucking person out there that has ever used cannabis at the moment, if you've got a YouTube account, you should be making a fucking video and telling your government to legalise this fucking medicine now. And use the word fucking medicine and food. Put them both in there. Tell them. This is how you protest. You tell the government why. And another way, if you're Australians, if you want this legal, ring 62777777. That's 62777777. You'll get through to Parliament House. Ask to speak to Minister Hunt's office. And talk to them nicely why you think cannabis should be legal. Start ringing them now. This is how you protest, folks. If you want to protest, Black Lives Matter. If you've got a problem, you ring the Australian federal government on the same number, 62777777, and fucking tell them. Tell them your fucking opinion. Find the minister relative to what you want to talk about and ring the people. They have people there that talk to you when you do this. This is called lobbying, and it's about time that every Australian rang the Minister for Health and the Prime Minister's office and say that cannabis should be legal. Do it today, do it tomorrow, do it whenever, but ring them and tell them cannabis should be legal. And I'm talking too long. And I'm not sick, don't worry. Well, don't worry, if I keep on coughing I will, but I've eaten a nut bar and it's not agreeing with me. So if you're out there and you believe that cannabis should be legal, right, and this is, I'm talking every country here, not just thing, and people, I know people say that cannabis in America is legal, but is it really? It's not federally legal yet. This needs to be federally legally globally. Ring your representatives up and say this has to be legalised properly, federally, all over the world. This has to be, and don't worry, I'm pro-Trump too. Everybody has to be legal. Everybody. It should just be legal for all of us to grow it again. It should just be considered a plant. A plant, yes, that does have things that if you use it, yeah, we've got to obey the law and don't drive drunk or drugged. That should be a very thing. We need new ads instead of saying don't drive drunk, don't drive drugged, and have someone on cannabis going so fucking slow. We need a new ad. But the whole thing is, folks, it's time to legitimise the people out there that need this drug. But for now, in the meantime, the Australian federal government needs to put this on the fucking PBS so that I don't have to beg, borrow to get fucking money to buy my medicine, which is fucking wrong. That's way fucking wrong. And Mr. Hunt, if you're listening, this message is particularly for you. If you do not legalise cannabis, trust me, you're going to get the biggest protest afterwards, because it's about time. And this food could actually feed some people. This can actually settle the population down right at this moment, which is what the government needs. And give this country 1 year. 1 year to prove. 1 year to prove that people aren't going to go stupid. Because I guarantee you gave us a year to prove it, we'd do exactly what America did. Let us open up dispensaries. And by the way, I want to be one of the first to open up a dispensary. Let us grow our own food and medicine so that we can eat at home without having to go out and buy fucking food all the time. Besides just other vegetables, let us grow a food that has healing properties. This plant is meant for the human body. It's meant for it. And you have to start acknowledging that fact, that this is meant for the human body. It was meant more as a food and as a medicine. It has 2 stages in life. People would be able to have a constant supply of food and a constant supply of medicine 24/7, just by spacing out the life of their plants, keeping some in veg all the time, making new strains, different growth rates. You could have the population revamp the country just out of the supply. You could set up a system where people hand in, you have a special bin just for their hemp plants, and that will come around and either they take it to a recycle centre. This would cut paper, the paper usage from trees 100%. I guarantee it. Because if everybody handed in their stems and their trunks, I don't hand the roots, you eat the roots, but the roots can be eaten, by the way. I forgot to tell you that. It makes a very nice spaghetti. But we can't access a tree that is meant for us. It was given to us by God. God designed the human body to use this both as food and as medicine. This one tree has many different things. This is why it should be called the tree of life. And it is the tree of life. Even in Anunnaki pictures, this plant is depicted. And when asked by a modern translator, it means tree of life. And this is what people need to realise, and the governments need to realise, that we should have the right. As a Christian, I'm demanding the right to eat manna and to consume manna. I demand that right. That is my right as a Christian. This is my religion. God gave us manna, and I want the right to use it. I want the right to be able to heal my own pain. Heal thyself, physician, the Bible says. And it meant to us, heal thyself. With this plant, we can heal thyself. And you need to realise, Mr. Hunt, that it's time. You need a way to help people calm down. Well, why not give them something to calm for? A 12-month trial of the legalisation of cannabis federally and state, with the states can't overrule that this is and I want it to be a federal law, no matter where people live, in Canberra, on Crown land, or up here, anywhere, no matter where the fuck they live. This needs to be legal, and it needs to be legal all over the world too. Now this is to the rest of the world legal. Fucking legalise this plant. This was meant for the fucking human body. For fuck's sake, wake up and stop this fucking prohibitive shit that's been going on for far fucking too long. So folks, thank you very, very much for watching this stream. Those of you out there that have sat through it and have not yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe to the channel when you click that little bell to click all, so that you get notified to all, whether being a stream or a video. So yeah, folks, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Bye.